have put their name in the hat. I'm also thankful for Kelsey Staniland. Jiminy Christmas. As you know, we have an election November the 4th, and so carrying off those elections is always tricky, getting things organized, getting ballots ready to go, coordinating with the county. And this year it's particularly difficult because Snyder School District is trying to pass a $170 million bond. And their school district loops into the corner over by Lake Allen Henry. They have 27 voters in this county. Mm-hmm. And so Dr. Rao, who was one of my former students, called and said, could you help us out with those 27? And so Kelsey has been working with me to try to come up with a way for us to babysit their ballot box during early voting for their 27 voters or however many show up. And then also their precinct actually will be conducted out at the Claremont precinct. So we're trying to help Snyder in that process. So that's been an added dimension to Kelsey's challenges. I'm very thankful for Kevin Chisholm. As you all know, a couple of weeks ago we went to Arlington to run cross country. Then we went to Waco and Smith and Knight. Then we were going to go to Oglesby, and then we went to McGregor. But Kevin was very he was looking out there ahead. But 2 weeks before we ever did that, he was given, and I've worked with him before, very organized guy. But he was giving me a list of, we need to be thinking about this, we need to think about this, we got to get these kids here, how are we going to get these kids? And I'm thankful that he took care of so much of that stuff. Homecoming Collect, I called it the Collective. It sounds like it's a Russian thing or nothing. But Steph and Cody, several of you were wearing multiple hats, booster clubs, homecoming committees, Lions clubs, as well as this stuff, and then all the people that just jump in, class sponsors. I have not, and well, I guess the three of you have juniors, don't you?
Andy, Cody, and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have not forgotten the pain and misery that goes with that. But anyway, I'm so appreciative of all the people. And I saw Billy Scoggin this morning at the Commissioner's Court, because I went to the dance the other night, and Daly and I danced we were the first ones on the floor, but I danced with both my daughters and all four of my granddaughters, and then I went home. So I didn't know what happened on the back end of the dance. Usually it's not good. But I asked Billy this morning if we got through the dance with no problem. He said it was fine, not any problem. So it either was fine or he lied to me and didn't want me to know what the problem was. I'm thankful for John Blagger. He just shows up every time we play football, every time we play basketball, and runs the clock. And good man, doing good work. Roy Mosley comes and the voice of the Jaybirds. I'm thankful that he shows up and donates his time. I'm also thankful for Caleb Chisholm. When we decided we needed to replace the rail on the front of the school, and I told him, we took bids on the job, and then he won the bid, and then I said, any chance you can get it done before homecoming? And so he made it happen, him and Caden Salazar. I'm thankful for the Texas Farm Bureau folks that came and cooked for us, our students and staff, on Tuesday night last. Made some great acquaintances with those people. And in fact, Jamie knew one of them from, I guess, high school or college, or both. And then he coached against one of the other guys. So
Small world.
it really is. It doesn't always work in my favor. And then I'm thankful for the fire department and the sheriff's office for being there at Bonfire and also through the homecoming stuff. And our maintenance team just did a marvelous job at homecoming. We had people through this building, and good. I'm thankful. I just hate that we have to lock the school down. I know we have to, but it was nice to be able to open the school up and let our stakeholders and exes and families, come through and in and out, but track in a lot of dirt and leave a lot of empty water bottles, and there's a lot of food left on the floor when you feed 400 people. So maintenance team did a great job. That's all I've got, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll look at public comments. There's no one. We move to action item, considered 2025-26 emergency operations plan, EOP.
Yeah, I sent that, I dropped that in your board packet. Was that this? It was this morning, I guess. I intended to get that done Saturday, but homecoming kind of crowded me out. I've been working on it for a couple of weeks, and it's one of several things that the state requires of us. And I was reminded, well, the template was 58 pages long before I ever put any data in it at all. And I know you looked at it. I don't know if you read every word of it or not. I'm not going to ask you to declare on record. But as I was working on it, I strongly suspected that I'm probably the only person that's going to read every word of it. I understand the need. I absolutely understand the need for us to think through the contingencies for all the disasters that might take place and the people that we have to try to coordinate in responding to something like tornado or active shooter or whatever. And it reminded me of the high school I served in Round Rock. I got a call on a Thursday morning to go to central office, and they said, it's when Hurricane Rita and Katrina hit New Orleans. So they called the high school and the middle school principals to central office, and they said, you're gonna be an evacuation center. And so they started telling us, well, my particular school was gonna house 550 people from inner city New Orleans. We did not know their names or who they were, but in our gymnasium, because we had a gym and bathrooms and showers and stuff. And so our bosses were giving us the lowdown. They said, but don't worry, because the Red Cross is going to show up and they'll take the helm. And then, so right before the meeting broke up, about 11 o'clock, I said, when are they going to be here? And they said, this afternoon. And so I and the associate principal got in the car, and she got on the phone and started calling our people on the campus to get ready. And we started preparing for the disaster. Or to help others, you know. I mean, we were serving fellow human beings. But we had great plans in place, and the Red Cross didn't show up. And we were one of the few schools that had an ag farm. And so what we had done is cleared up and dressed up the ag farm quickly so we could take care of people's pets. And then someone from the governor's office walked in about mid-afternoon and said, where are you putting the pets? And we said, well, we got the ag farm and we're ready to go. And no, you can't do that. The governor said they have to be housed inside because many of them are inside pets. And so I'm thinking, what? And our dance teacher happened to be standing within earshot, and she said, Nelson, we'll use the dance studio, and the drill team and I will take care of pets all those people are here. And I mean, so my point is this: you make these plans and contingencies to how you're going to deal with it, which you need to. But as the General George Patton is famously noted for saying, that the first casualty of war is the battle plan. And so I understand that we have to have the emergency operations plan, and if you all approve it, I hope you will, I'm going to ship it to Austin tomorrow, and I'm almost certain that whoever looks at it down there is going to send it back to me and say, well, you didn't do this, this, and this right. But this is the first step. If you'll approve it, I'll get it shipped, and then I'll repair whatever damage they say needs to be repaired. That was a long explanation for that. But
I skimmed through it pretty fast.
you know, it's kind of mind-numbing, really. But
Once I saw your name and Billy's, then I was like, that's good.
yeah, right.
We'll need a motion to approve the EOP.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 25-26 emergency operations plan.
And I'll second the motion.
Stephanie makes a motion, Cody seconds, all in favor?
Thank you all for that. on the screen, from time to time when we meet, I ask Keith to give you an update on where we are with the technology bond that passed last November. And so the numbers, let me make that bigger, you can get more of the picture, see where we are. Is that too tiny for you?
We haven't really added a whole lot, to that since the last one. We're sitting about 665 left remaining in the bond, and got a few things coming up, server replacements that'll probably run about close to 50,000, but hopefully not too many more big things. We do have some other monies we need to be expending anyway, so we got to kind of look at where we need this to go. The marquee, if you haven't noticed, is finished and running,
That's
and
good.
we've got Kelsey doing updates to it. So she had all the stuff last week on there, and probably had to sit there for 10 minutes to watch everything that was going across the marquee. But anyway, it was good. This week there's only about 5 slides that she has, so maybe a little bit easier. And I think it turned out well. I don't know what y'all's opinions are, but
Okay, I think it looks great.
I'm very pleased. We had the last bill come in from them to finish paying off that project. That's already accounted for in that money there. So, few other big projects coming up that aren't on there and won't be are the doors. We're doing more door controller card readers out, especially at the football area. Some garage doors like for the back of the stands and the weight room, and then adding some more cameras since we have internet and things out in the new facilities, and that was used out of different monies than this that we already had on hand. So other than that, it's rolling on. The internet is definitely popping up and down, and it is Caprock Internet. They're working on things right now, and so I had to redo the recording to start doing it in QuickTime. So you are still being recorded, and I'll just have to upload it different. So
Did anybody understand what he just said?
yeah,
It'll upload
Sorry.
later.
With,
Take care of it.
the internet is going up
I'm
and down.
sorry, Coach.
That's-
with that technology money, would it be a possibility to put some kind of sound system at the pool, speaker or something? It just makes me nervous when they have that speaker out there and they run an extension cord across the ground and we're in a pool. So I would think that'd be a smart place to spend. It wouldn't be that much money to put some kind of cheap.
you saw what I did
They could control it inside the concession stand and not run an extension cord across the water, standing water there. I just don't like that.
You look at what I did in the small gym. The sound system for it was not much at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely not going to be. Is that further up?
Let me look. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
Line
I
5.
did
Oh, yeah.
3,200 for that one over there, and it won't need to be near that big.
No.
Right.
So we could probably do that for around 1,500, I would think.
Do we?
Point
or
the speakers
have we
right at his
ever-
house.
Yeah.
No.
Do we give our high school graduates a MacBook when they
No.
leave? Do they? Okay,
We do not.
okay.
So there's some schools that have done that, some schools that haven't.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of that personally, because you're gifting something purchased with state funds. It's debatable, and
Yeah.
however you look at it from that end, different people have different views on it. The biggest reason I would have against it at this point is it messes up my rotation plan
Right.
for rotating computers down to the other grade levels, and then I gotta come up with a new plan.
Right.
Not saying it's not something we couldn't look at, but,
I didn't know. I know there's some schools that the kids start their freshman year, they carry that computer through their senior year, and then the school gives them a brand new. Go on your way.
Oh, a new one on the way out the door.
now most schools do not do that. They give them one as a freshman, and then they keep it when they leave. They don't get another new one
Yeah.
when they leave. They just keep that one, and then they just keep replenishing behind.
Yeah.
There might be some that do that, but I haven't heard of one. It's just a difference of
Yeah,
opinions
yeah,
on
I didn't know, I just
how
thought.
it looks, so.
Our kids leave with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
y'all.
Thanks.
Next, we'll move to 1H, discussion item, acknowledgement, feedback, portal comments.
At our last board meeting, we informed you of the new state law requiring us to have a complaint, basically a complaint portal on the website. And as I've told some of you, I thought I was the complaint portal. But Keith installed a mechanism on our website for people to provide feedback to us. And to date, unless something happened today, still no one has gone to the trouble. So I guess they're still catching me and telling me if they have a complaint.
Our mailbox is not full.
Yeah, right, right.
Does it say anonymous, but we really know who's sending it?
No, it was not. I definitely asked for names and phone numbers.
Go let the air out of their tires.
Next, we'll move to 1I, discussion item, board election update.
I mentioned and gave thanks for the 6 folks that we'll have there. What I have learned about the election in the last week is that the first week of early voting is 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And then the following Saturday is 7 to 7. The following Sunday is 9 to 6. And then the second week is 7 to 7. I did not know there was different time windows for early voting, but as far as conversation on the street, I mean, I visited with, I think I visited with all 6 of the board members, and I'm very thankful. And as far as I can tell, I mean, none of them have spit at me or expressed severe heartburn with what we're doing here. I think all of them are running out of an intense interest in serving the community. So I'm looking forward to a nice election, and we'll see how it shakes down. I haven't heard if there were. I know that you spoke at some kind of event when you were running. What was that?
Joy Miller put that together.
Did she? And I don't know. I haven't heard if anything along those lines.
The Lions Club did it one year. They had to meet the candidates.
Did they? Okay. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it, but we're about 5 weeks out still. So that's all I've got on that.
Okay, next we'll move to 1J, discussion item, state champion commemoration display.
Yeah, I've shown that to you all. It's on the screen now. And what I've been trying to do is being very deliberate, taking feedback from as many quarters as I have. You know, we originated the conversation with a committee and sort of got the first version of possibilities. And then what I did is from our last conversation, I asked the guy I worked with at Guthrie, Darren Wilson, who has some digital skills, if he would help us put it in a more concrete view, so it'd give us a better sense of what it looked like. So these are the monuments, I guess is what you would call them, that seem to get the most traction from those people whose eyes have flown across them. I would not have thought about putting the humans there, but it was a nice touch. It gives you a sense of the size that you're looking at. Now, that hadn't occurred to me. And so this one, he placed this monument, and this is the elementary school. So right here's the parking spots you're looking at if you're driving up Schoolhouse Road. So that's just right square in front of you. And then here was another conception, a type of formatting, and someone whose opinion I value greatly said, you know, what might that look like if we put it on the walkway up toward the front of the school, the main entry. And so Darren put that together. And then this big black granite looking outfit was another conception that seemed to gain favor among the folks who've been looking at these things. And this was a location of where our old home ec building was, as you can see the gazebo. And so he planted it there for one view. After talking to him, I asked him if he would take that one also and give us a view of what it might look like sitting right in front of the elementary school as you come up Schoolhouse Road. And so there's a view of that. And then the monuments, similar to the one that we have in front of the gym now, I asked him to give us a sense of what those might look like. And I didn't ask him, I mean, right now we know we have 8 state champion monuments that we would need to locate. I asked him to put some here at near the concession stand at the football field, just for possibility of viewing. Where we would place the other ones, if we scattered them around, it would be a matter of debate, how to locate them and where to locate them. But I want us to have a concrete view of what that might look like. And then I asked my good friend and colleague Keith Empfinger to put his brain on what we might do in a big, bold way that you couldn't miss when you drive up to the school. And this was what came to his mind. And so the commemorations of the individual teams would be embedded on these pillars. As I thought about this one, I think it would be important for us to put some sort of protective, I love my kinfolks from Stonewall County, but I know there's some of them there that might wrap a chain around that thing and try to do something to it. So, but that's another conception. So when Cody Scott and I were talking about the board agenda the other day, then my question to him was, do we think is it time for us to have an action item, or do we want to look at it, chew on it, think about it for at least one more meeting? And he and I agreed that this is a big enough deal for us to keep thinking about it a little more. So my question to you all is there, if there is a conception of this possibility that you'd like to see, if you'll let me know, I'll get it drawn up, and then we can either take action on it next time or talk about it some more. But I'm open to your lead, and again, whenever it's time, I'm certainly not afraid of making a recommendation to you. I mean, I certainly have my preference, but that thing, whatever it is going to be there a long time after I'm gone. As I told our attorneys last week, I've begun actively searching for burial plots, just based on the need to get the softball baseball thing going. So,
Well, that's why I kind of talked to Stephanie and Kinsey about it. You know, I think it's something that's going to be there long term, might be there 100 years. So it needs to be something that's nice and can adapt to a little bit of change over the next 50 years.
Yep.
Added to. I like that in the front, but like you said, somebody would hit it.
Well, I think we'd have to, something like that, we'd have to make sure we protected it from chicanery. But but that's another thing too, anymore. I've never thought crooks were very smart, but to be a crook these days, I think takes exceptional not smartness, because there's cameras everywhere. You're just not going to get away with anything, really. And here included, how many cameras do we have now?
62 currently, but we're adding 17 more.
Oh. So you might do something, but you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Can you go up a few?
Yeah,
about
sure.
5 or 6. Keep going.
Stop me when you're ready.
I kind of like that one right there in the position that it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And the double J in the front, and then it would have either the school song or something right there on where they're standing, or the Jaybird.
Yeah.
What is it?
if we end up, and one of the things that's been going through my mind is whatever we do, I mean, I think we'll have to get the architect to put the details to it. But I think we want it to be well lit too. So that, I mean, wherever it is, you cannot miss it.
Mhm.
It's gonna glare at you.
Yeah.
Others, anybody want to see something else?
I like this location too. I love the big arch. I worry a little bit because it like at school drop off and pick up, it's a little tricky with cars going both ways this way and backing out. I kind of am a little bit nervous about adding more to the.
You mean that arch?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
good.
me a little bit nervous, but I do like the idea that when you drive up, that's what you see.
it.
So I like this. I like this location.
And I like the wording on the arch.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah?
Educating
Mhm.
champions.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really like that.
I do too.
Keith did that.
I like that.
Good job.
I have
If he weren't here,
PTSD
I
where
would
that arch
claim
is
that.
located.
If he weren't in the
Oh,
room,
yeah,
I would
that's
say I
right.
thought of
Yeah.
that.
It's so bad right there.
Uh-huh.
The only thing
And-
about that one I would say is we lose 2 parking spots. You leave those spots open so they can't park there, cause if you park there,
Right.
you block it. I mean, we won't leave that
Yeah.
open.
That's what I was. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's something that's been going through my mind. Whatever we do, if we locate it there at the front of that intersection, I think we take those parking spots out of service
Right.
Yeah.
so that
You can see it at all times.
vehicles are not going to keep you from seeing it
Mhm.
when you come in.
I just
Good
think,
deal.
I just think we get more visitors through the main door, go up to that one where they're on the main walkway.
This one, yeah.
Visitors that walk in the school, but I think about all the people that drive
Drive
up to
up.
the games that won't be walking up
Yeah,
to the front door of the
that
school.
won't be well noticed there, just driving by.
I like that one too, but like you said, nobody's gonna sit unless you're intentionally going in the school,
Cause you're not gonna turn right to go to a football game, cause you can't park right,
unless
that's
we
blocked
start
off.
funneling traffic that way.
And so Mackenzie will be the first to attest that my wife and I do not see the world through the same set of lenses. Because I've been thinking in terms of something big, bold, and you can't miss when you're driving up. And my wife said, you know, I would really like something that I could get out and wander around and take a look and touch. And well,
And you get that in the one that's on the front lawn, where you're probably not gonna get that in the road, cause people aren't gonna get out
yeah.
Yeah, no,
as
sorry.
easily to look
Yeah.
at the commemoration.
You know, and I don't know if we go with something, whatever we do, if we go with the double J, we need to make sure that we're all in agreement which double J we need to have. And if we're going to put the Jaybird emblem, the bird emblem on there, we'll need to make sure that we.
I like just the double J, it looks really good to me.
That one's gonna be tricky to get video surveillance,
Because it's too
Tricky
tall.
to what?
to get video surveillance on.
Oh, well, and you know, my wife made this point too,
Mhm.
in particular, and I'll go to this one because it
Even
seemed to
from,
be
even from the pool.
lend itself to it.
Oh, you get it.
My wife said she thought it might be nice to make sure you had something that was photo friendly for people to get their pictures taken in front of and with. And so I had not thought about that, of course.
That one there, I could probably get a pretty good coverage from the corner of the pool building, looking across.
Are there cameras at the pool?
Yes.
I've never even noticed. See, I don't notice that kind of stuff.
So the days of skinny dipping, you know,
They're over.
not that that's ever happened.
Well. Never say never.
I'm looking at the sheriff's wife over here. Her lips are pursed. Not gonna speak.
It was mandatory as a freshman.
Mandatory,
Are we done with that?
Those are so good.
Well, if you think of something before we meet the next time, if you think of a different pairing or conception, I'll get her drawn up and we can look at it.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll move on to 1K, discussion item, first round of drug testing in the books.
Just informational only, we had, I got notified from our Allied, what's the name of that company? Allied Compliance, that 13 or 14 students and one adult, I think, one bus driver. And good news, nobody tested positive. That's all there is for that.
That's just a random.
Yes, and I'm forgetting the frequency. It's not monthly, is it?
Usually about every month and a half or two.
Okay.
I think we tested seven students in one home, we tested 13.
Oh, yeah,
Less than that,
okay.
actually.
And then
Less.
I mean, I can attest. When I was at Guthrie and Kevin was the principal, I know we had at least one instance where a young man talked his girlfriend into peeing in the cup for him. I don't,
She passed.
if we've had any of that kind of stuff.
They've got temperature gauges and all the side of them now, unless she's in there peeing with him. it's
Yeah,
not gonna work.
yeah, I know.
If you carry it on your body, it won't work. They can tell it's cold urine, so.
Yep.
It has to be a fresh sample.
So do y'all get a list of names already?
They send us they send us a random list about a week before. Problem last year, they sent us a list, and the first 3 cycles we had kids tested over and over and over, and I was like, that's not random when you test the same kids over. So what we started doing, I kept a spreadsheet, and they would send a list, like take this one and this and this and all, if they just were tested last month. I mean, there is value in testing back-to-back months, cause some kids would think they would get a free pass, but, so they sent us about a week or 2 in advance. And they put a couple of, sometimes they'll put, you can have additional testers at the bottom, alternates, if someone's gone, you'll add them in. Somehow, I drew the first bus driving test.
I told them to
Neither
test
one of
you.
us knew it.
I
He's like, I don't know who the bus driver is. He doesn't have anything about the bus driver. He goes, well, I don't know either. Well, I found out today. It was me. I guess that's why we didn't know.
I told them to test you, and then I got to thinking, we don't need to be without the principal, and I said, make sure he passes.
Hopefully that'll keep running smooth.
Yep.
Next, we'll
Yep.
move to learning optimization for all, discussion item, House Bill 8, and the reshaping of the accountability system.
Yeah, I've told you all back in the spring that I thought the STAR test was gonna die in the legislative session, and it got really, really close, and then it survived, which was a little bit of a surprise to me. And then the governor scheduled a special session this summer, and lo and behold, the legislation emerged to reshape the accountability system, and it came out in the form of House Bill 8, and it's really a kind of a twofold thing. And I've been reading different portals and platforms assessment of what it looks like. It's generally a twofold focus, foci for you math people. First one is a reshaping of the K-12 accountability system, which matters to us. And the second part is a reshaping of the way they fund community colleges. And I've asked Jamie if he would speak to the K-12 part of it, and I'll shut up and let him tell us what he knows or what he thinks we need to know.
So all it was originally to get rid of testing. Did get rid of the STAR test. What they put in place of it is a 3-tiered assessment: a beginning of the year, a middle of the year, and an end of year assessments. And so it allows you to look at growth, and they're shorter tests, supposed to be graded within a couple days, more immediate feedback. Obviously, we don't get our results back
Next year.
till in the school. I mean, there's a long lag there, and so but for all the proponents of less testing, you're now testing a kid, putting them through it 3 times a year. Now that the value is it's a shorter test, less questions, quicker feedback, but you're still testing these kids more and more and more. In reality, most schools were already doing a beginning of the year and a middle of the year, and the end of year test was going to be the STAR test. In some of it I've read, it says there's no longer allowing benchmarks. Oh Lord, when would you benchmark them? I mean, with that many tests. So another positive of it: high school's Algebra 1, Biology 1, English 1, English 2 prior, and U.S. History. English 2 was a requirement for graduation. English 2 will go away under this format for them, so they'll just take that. But again, I mean, it's more testing, but much more, less stress being all of, at the end of the year, but, the kids are gonna be tested more. But most kids are used to testing, to be honest with you, and there's some form of testing. As far as the A through F, it's gonna look fairly, it hasn't been decided. It said, when I was looking here, looking for growth and achievement, how they're gonna do all that, you know, they haven't announced that. Again, you cannot take practice tests. That was one of the things on there. You cannot take practice tests or predictor tests. It did say that teacher input would be, used, but I'm sure that some company or vendor will end up getting that at some point. And it will start in 27, 28, is what it is. But, I think, as we all know, anytime there's testing, there involves lots and lots and lots of money. And I'm sure being tested 3 times a year will involve still lots and lots and lots of money for some vendor or multiple vendors.
Thank you. I asked Mackenzie if she would be willing to speak about it from her perspective, because I know in her other life, she's probably had her nose on this legislation more than I have, and she said she was willing to give us her perspective.
Yeah, so it kind of morphed at the last minute. All along, people that wanted to get rid of STAR wanted to do it and be replaced with more of a see if the kids are growing rather than see what they know at the end of the year. So that was the idea behind it. A lot of people already had something they used, they wanted to continue to use, and so when there was this discussion, a lot of districts got excited at first because they thought, oh good, we'll get to use what we like to use all year. And so then at the very end of special session, which coincidentally or not coincided with educators being back at school in the trenches the first 2 weeks, that there was hardly anyone there to testify, and at the last minute the bill was changed, and rather than it being what you're normally using, it was, you know what, the state will actually provide all 3 assessments for you. And so the price tag, they're gonna call the new one also STAR, but SSTAR rather than STAAR.
Oh, really? Okay.
The new STAR costs the state more money, but what proponents of it are saying is it will alleviate some of the financial burden off of school districts who are investing a lot of money in their own assessments right now.
Okay.
So, but yeah, as you said, shorter tests, more focus supposedly on growth. However, they didn't clearly outline what that accountability looks like.
Their own assessments, like the practice tests and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Some people buy their own beginning and mid and end year assessment to see. And so the state's saying, well, we'll allow you to use some of those at beginning and mid-year, but you for sure have to use the state at the end of the year. And if you use those at the beginning and middle of the year, you're paying for them, the state's not. Or the state will pay for one for you.
So in the folks that are in the instructional technology business, almost all of them, regardless of who they are, and it varies from state to state, because most of the states now, don't let me misrepresent, but most of the states now have some sort of state testing.
Mm-hmm.
And the first question that gets asked if school district wants to start using a particular product is it aligned to our state tests? So that's all these instructional technologies company, they have a version of their product that aligned to the Oklahoma test, and they have a version that aligned to the Florida tests, and so I mean, it's a money game. There's no question about that. But and then the other half of House Bill 8, and actually I'm kind of thankful. I wasn't aware that was part of it, but it's the funding of the community colleges. And so community colleges have historically been funded by the state purely on enrollment. You know, the more students you have, more money you get. And what they've done is done the same thing they have done to the K-12, and I'm thankful. They're still going to put some money into the enrollment side, but they're also going to up the ante and raise the price, the funding for you if you're producing students that are needed in the current workforce. So it's kind of like a version of CCMR for the community college level. So they'll get more funding if they're producing HVAC workers, or they get more funding if they're producing plumbers, whatever the high need in the workforce is at the moment. So I can remember 30 years ago trying to push on my representative back when I was a principal here, and representative and state senator, because I was telling them, you know, if you want us to produce students, graduates that are non-English speakers, then put a little money on the outcome. You know, I mean, yeah, I know you got to pay for the process, but if you want students that are career and technology educated, then put a little extra money on those people, and they've done that in the K-12 environment. Now, evidently, they're fixing to do the same thing in the community college, junior college world. And on a similar topic too, and I've had conversations with Darla about this, because part of the work that I've done the last several years with that network of schools that's called Collegiate EduNation, what they have really focused, those rural schools have focused on trying to make sure every one of their high school graduates has either an associate's degree or certification, vocational certification of some kind by the time they graduate from high school. And so I think in the state put money behind that, they call it P-TECH. And so in that P-TECH environment, and I think you all did this at Seagraves, a student that is in that pathway, they graduate from Jayton, they have a high school diploma, and they have an associate degree, and then they head off to, if they've got the associate degree, then they're heading to a four-year university. So probably not A&M, and probably not Texas. I heard that he turned down your golf cart this weekend. Did you hear that? Yeah. But WT, okay. You get to carry those students on your books for 2 more years. The school gets to carry them in year 13, 14, as well as the university. And so it's a good for them, good for us kind of thing. And it's just the state trying to put money, basically, into higher education and workforce development. So
Hamlin is one of those, right?
Who?
Hamlin?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Hamlin, Roscoe, Throckmorton. That's why the Throckmorton board asked me to be their interim several years ago, because they knew of my affiliation with that particular group, and they wanted that model built. More than you wanted to know, probably.
No, we
Thanks,
want-
Jamie, and thanks, Kinsey.
we
Any
wanna
questions?
We want to know how to move forward to get into that program, I think, is what
Well,
Lacey's eyes go. That's another discussion. We'll
it
have
can
that.
be done.
Thank
That's all
you,
I got
sir.
on that.
Next, we'll move to an action item, consent items, the minutes of the August 26, 2025 board meeting, the financial reports, and the letter of engagement with auditors Bennett and Trice LLC. I guess everybody had time to look over those. Anybody have any questions over any of them? I'd already asked mine, so. We will need a motion to approve the consent items.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Cody makes a motion.
I'll second.
Kinsey seconds. All in favor?
Cody, if you'll sign and hand that to Kinsey for her signature. Yeah, there's 2 meetings there. It was the public hearing and regular board meeting. This is the auditor's letter of engagement, Cody, and this, your signature only on that one. Hand that back to me. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. All righty. Thank you all.
Yes, sir. Next, we'll move on. Action item, authorization for MWM Architects to move from schematic design to design development regarding the softball baseball complex.
Yeah, I won't go to the trouble to repeat what I've already communicated to you, but I'm certainly willing to answer your questions. The bottom line is, this is a greasing the skid process. Once I get the documents back from the lawyer, Stephen Drewell indicated that if we could take care of this piece, it would make things go faster. So you're giving the architect the green light to move from one phase of development to the next.
So we'll need a motion, or does anybody have any questions before that? We'll need a motion for authorization for MWM Architects to move from schematic design to design development regarding the softball baseball complex.
I'll make a motion.
Cody makes a motion, I'll second it. All in favor? Cody makes a motion and Cody seconds it. Next, we'll have an action item resolved to purchase a parcel of real property containing 3 lots or parts of lots located in Block G, City of Jayton, Kent County, Texas. The address of which is known generally as 771 Jones Street, Jayton, Kent County, Texas, including any and all improvements thereon, and authorizing the superintendent and or board president to execute on behalf of the district the contract to purchase the real property and to execute any and all other documents necessary to consummate the purchase of said real property. That's a lawyer real thing.
Can you tell that the attorney and not Nelson crafted that?
Sounds good to me.
And I'm not gonna look at Lacey, but I almost know what her face looks like. Cause she's been listening to me.
This is right here. This is the property right here.
Yeah, it's the Bases, yeah. And I saw George this weekend, he was here, he was on the coming home court.
Yeah.
And he has 5 little girls,
Yeah.
Jiminy, cannot imagine, but anyway. So the next step on that, if you approve this, I mean, this is basically saying they're agreed, we're agreed, now go. So then we go through the process. This is a resolution that you're committing to, and then the next piece of that is the actual agreement, the sales agreement, which I will send to the Baezes for execution, and then we'll come back to his signing, and then we go through the title insurance and the surveying and all that stuff. But first step.
So we'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we resolve to purchase.
I'll second.
Stephanie makes a motion, Kenzie seconds, all in favor? You didn't want to read all that.
No, y'all
Can you
get it.
copy and paste that?
Kelsey already entered what we had to, I assume, in here.
Voted?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Cody, it's your signature, and then Mackenzie's on the resolution. And that's all, just that page. The stuff behind it is the agreement that I'll have to send to them first.
Yeah. Our normal conversations.
Next will be 3D, action item resolved to accomplish the following. Declares the house structure only, no real property located at 801 Claremont Street, Jayton, Texas, to be surplus personal property of the district. Authorizes the disposal of the surplus house structure only, not real property. Authorizes the superintendent to take any and all action necessary to advertise the sale of the surplus house structure only, no real property, to the highest responsible bidder, who can remove the surplus house structure from the real property upon which it stands without cost to the district by a date certain as deemed by the superintendent, and addresses other actions pertaining to its advertising and sale.
I missed part of that. Could you read it again? Bacchus. I told Lacey the other day, there's just 3 things here. Get the highest bid, drag the house off, we're keeping the land.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're done.
That sounds good.
Did it say there's no real property? I'll make a motion to resolve to accomplish, action in 3D, or item 3D.
I'll second.
Cody makes a motion, Stephanie seconds, all in favor? Next, we'll move on
Thank
to
you.
yes, sir. 3E, action item, consider the AIA 133-2019 Exhibit B and AIA A 201-2017 standard form of agreement between the owner and construction manager as constructor with Farr and Company to provide construction manager at risk services related to the 2025 softball baseball complex project as presented, and authorize the interim superintendent to execute the agreement on the district's behalf.
So you did it last month, and the attorney said, I'd feel better if the board would do it with this wording, and so you're basically saying the same thing you did last time.
Okay.
FAR asked for 2 minor revisions on the thing, and that's what the attorneys have on their desk right now.
Okay.
I'm trying to practice my best version of patience, but I'm ready to go.
Yep.
And, so if what you're saying, if you approve this, you're basically saying we're approving for Nelson to sign off on those three contracts.
The 2 or 3 revisions.
And as soon as he and FAR can sign off on them, and then you already told the architect go, so we're off and running, I hope.
So we'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve action item 3E, which was just stated.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Okay, let me check my wording on this. Motion made regarding all that stuff as presented and authorize the interim superintendent to execute. That ought to do it. Okay.
Yep.
Next, we'll move to 3F discussion item, the bond election next steps.
Yeah, so, I put next to your location there, the pictures. What I asked and you saw, I sent this to you in digital version earlier. But our bond attorneys, I'm thankful for them. And I even got an email from Rose on Friday telling me that new law says I have to do a pre-report and a post-report on the bond election. But I appreciate their guidance. And I'm thankful too, because I was not expecting, when I put that one pager together, I thought almost certainly that they would tell me, no, it's got to be 10 pages. But so what you're looking at there, I met with the Commissioners Court this morning, and they got each one of those, and the judge and whoever else was in the room. And then I met at Lions Club today with Steph and those folks there, and they got one. The process, the informational process is started, and as you all have seen from communications with me, we can't campaign, using school stuff. All I can do is do the deadpan version. Here's what we want to do. Here's what asking you to consider. And I haven't come across anybody yet that has, wanted to arm wrestle me over it. Everybody seems open. As you remember last year when you had the bond on the ballot, the transportation on the ballot, it was bundled with the softball, baseball, and it was a total of 10 million. Presumably the transportation was 3 million of that. And so I've just been telling people straight up, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we plan to spend the money. The part there about 2/3 of the way down on the left, it says, how you're going to pay for it. As I told the Commissioners Court this morning, in the Lions Club, by law, we have to say it's going to be property tax levy. And if somebody asks me how much, I'm going to say 0.000001 penny. You can't even measure it, but as you know, it'll be permanent school funds. And then I did ask Vince Vial, our banker, the other day. I said, I know I'm going to get this question. Tell me how I need to answer it. I said, how long are we looking at the finance window, and when would be the earliest payout without penalty? And he said, we're thinking a 10-year window and no penalty for early payout at any point. So I was not expecting that last part, but yay. It's really not much money. As I mentioned earlier, Snyder's trying to pass a $170 million bond, and one of my friends that was in Fort Bend a couple of years ago, they passed a bond of about $2 billion. So it's just a rounding error for some people, but it'll keep us on good wheels for our kids. And that's good, and also I think we can benefit, and some folks around us could benefit too. That's all I got on that, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next will be executive session. Anybody have anything they want to talk about?
I did, if I could back up to that other one though, one thing I will do, I'm planning to do in October is put 2 and maybe 3 dates on my calendar for informational sessions.
Community.
What I'll try to do is maybe do it one day after Lions Club or right before a ball game or something, where we're gonna have some people there anyway. And give people an opportunity to hear what we're doing and ask me questions about it. But there'll be 2 or 3 of those on the calendar. And I guess I'll probably do a Sunday afternoon somewhere along there. But that's all I got.
Sounds good.
Anybody have anything else, or I guess just be thinking about the monument stuff, and just get ready for the next meeting. If y'all got anything on the agenda for the next meeting, just let me know, or Mr. Coulter will get it on there.
October 13th when we're scheduled next.
Did the monument committee, did they have a favorite? Did they come up with?
Well, what I had showed you early on
Yeah.
it was the way that their preferences is what they had seen. Now, what they had not seen was that big arch thing. I mean, I used the monument committee, or the basically is to do the first level of vetting, and took off from there.
Okay. Nobody's got anything else? We will need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Stephanie makes a motion to adjourn. I'll second it. All in favor?
Thank you all for your support and confidence.
Thank you.